Welcome back to Quiet Please. Your favorites, Mel and Kira, are here with you for another episode. Mel, the other day, Andrew was asking me, do you talk to anybody as much as you talk to Mel? And I think the answer is no. Like, I don't purposefully talk to people on the phone or have these like standing conversations with anybody else in my life.
No, I'm thinking about it. It's probably very similar in my life as well, Kira.
So you just like text. And
we like a good voice note. I like a good voice note nowadays. I'm glad we're on the same page as that now as well, because I feel texting is just a bit of an effort sometimes, isn't it? And I feel you can't really get the emotion across until you do a little voice note. So I'm big voice note communicator nowadays. I hate calling. I hate calling.
Every once in a while, I like to call. You don't really answer all my phone calls, but that's okay.
I know I don't. I don't answer many phone calls. I literally hate speaking on the phone. I don't know what it is. I just hate speaking on the phone, which is weird because I love talking. But.
Yeah, that's funny. But no. Anyway, hi. How are you? How's your vacay?
Awesome. Awesome. Like we're in love. We've always been in love with Colorado, but even more so now. We're just kind of exploring an area that we potentially would like to move to. So it's been a lot of fun. I did. Me being me, we did a hike the other day and it said moderate. I thought, oh, that'll be fine. Didn't look at the elevation, and it's called, for people who are familiar with Fort Collins, it's called Arthur's Rock. And I've got Kai like one of his rucksack things and stick him on my back. Dude, this thing was like, I literally felt I was doing Hell Week in the Marines. Like it was literally 1,000 feet up the whole entire way. Like it was, and like there's not much oxygen here, is there, and things like that.
No.
I took like, I think one stop, I had to take the rucksack off and be like, right, let me just have a minute, Carly.
You're doing altitude training.
Literally, yeah. It was, I think it was obviously because I had him on my back, but it was probably one of the hardest hikes I've done. But we're loving it. Went swimming in the lake. We've been to every single brewery we can find. Obviously, found a couple of my favorites. But yeah, it's been obviously. So yeah, I'm just luckily we're walking around a lot. Otherwise, I'd be putting on about 15 pounds. But it's been a lot of fun, and Kai just loves it here. So it's been awesome. How about you, my little singer? Kai was like, she's really fucking good. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, is there anything that Kira can't do?
When I told you I was obsessed with musical theater, I wasn't kidding.
No, you weren't.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, my former house is completely empty, and an empty house has really great acoustics. So I was in there by myself after the movers had come. You can, if you're listening really closely, you can hear the like beep,
oh, really?
in the background. It literally just left. And I was like, la la la, 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 like enjoying the acoustics. And I was like, what if I just, broke out? And so I literally stood, I was there for 30 minutes just sitting. Can you imagine me by myself, full on jazz hands?
No, I can't. Oh, is it?
So finally I recorded one just because it was really, I don't know, it was pretty funny. And normally I would never post something like that because it's so cringe and like makes my skin crawl, the idea of people hearing me sing. But
you're really good.
I thought people would appreciate the comedy of the moment.
You know what, Kira, life's too short, isn't it, mate? You just got to do you. You got to sing on your own. Not many people do that. And people should do it more. If that makes you happy, it makes you happy. So
Exactly.
Can you hear Kai? Can you hear Kai?
Is Kai out there singing too?
No, he's singing, but he's screaming because we're trying to put him down, and he's not very happy about it.
Oh no!
Yeah, he just wants to be up the whole time. I don't know what's going on. So sorry. Anyway, but yeah, it's a very different sound to you in the kitchen singing.
It's okay. Everybody's a great singer.
Mm-hmm. No, but can you hear him? Can you not hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Yeah.
No, I don't want a nap. Meanwhile, please.
I know.
So I have some really big news. I'm not pregnant, don't worry.
Jeez, Kira.
I got all my health results back.
Okay.
And I had my conversation with the naturopath this morning.
Okay.
And I thought you would really enjoy geeking out over this with me.
Yes, please.
Okay. So turns out I have a Candida overgrowth in my gut. And Candida is a yeast which creates inflammation, bloating, and is fueled by things like wine and beer. and
Yes.
yeast heavy products.
Yeah.
Also, it's possible that I have SIBO, which is small intestine bacteria overgrowth, because I have um, a possible high sulfur gas in my intestine, which is indicative of potential SIBO.
What's that
And I
mean?
have something else called Enterococcus bacteria in my gut, which is also uh, a symptom of overgrowth of candida.
So basically, you're allergic to yeast.
No, I'm not allergic. It's just I have an overgrowth, and that can be triggered by I had food poisoning, or I was sick, or I drank too much one time, and then it
Oh.
just led to an overgrowth of yeast. So all you have to do is clear it and just kill it, and you can go back to your normal
How do you do
habits.
that? Medicine?
Yes. So she prescribes, it's a prescription medication. And then also based on some of the other stuff in my, like I had really high iron levels. I have certain signs of dehydration. I have deficiency in vitamin D. So based on
Mm.
all of these things, she's prescribed like some medication, and then also like very specific vitamins and supplements for the things that I actually need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really important for anyone out there that's interested in this sort of thing. Is we hear so many things like, oh, you should be taking this, you should be taking
Yeah.
this. But like, why are you taking that if you're not deficient in vitamin
Yeah.
D, or if you
Yeah.
have
Or
normal
iron.
levels? Yeah,
Mhm.
or I exactly. So
Yeah.
it was just really interesting to go through everything with her, and her to say, you're great in this. You don't need, like, my thyroid function is great. I'm not sensitive to any foods, thank God.
Oh, thank God.
So I'm totally fine. Dairy,
Everything. Oh, that's
gluten,
good.
everything. I can
Oh,
eat
wow.
anything
You
I
can eat,
want.
right.
She was like, don't change the way you're eating. Let's fix everything so that you
Mm-hmm.
can continue to not live, so you don't have to ever live a restricted eating
Right.
life. And we can just get everything back to baseline, kill out that bacteria, make sure that your gut health is good. She like prescribed some probiotics.
Oh, okay.
So
I need to.
yeah.
I'm going to do all this. I need to get this done.
I feel
I'd be super interested in it because
it was fascinating to just she like went through all my labs and like percentages of this and what this means and that.
I want to see how well you feel now in like a couple of months. You know what I mean? Doing it.
Yes. So now, because the testing took forever, as people know.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I have like clear answers, like, okay, I don't have to guess anymore. I'm going to be taking these specific things for these specific goals. So hopefully in 3 months, I will not be so lethargic, not feel so bloated, not feel so constantly disgusting and inflamed. So big
good
day.
for you. I know. I'm
big day for me.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna look into it and get it done.
I highly recommend. Yeah.
I know.
And nobody out there just take supplements to take supplements if you don't know what you should be taking them for.
Yeah, like I've definitely took supplements. Well, yeah, I do take supplements, and I don't think that I'm benefiting from it. So yeah, I need to do
I've taken supplements on and off forever because some girl on Instagram said, oh my God, you need to do whatever. Or some person that I know is like, oh, I'm doing this and it's really great. Like, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great for you, but everybody's different.
Yeah. Are you on that weighted vest trend?
Oh my gosh, Amanda Balionis keeps posting about this. I literally ordered one on Amazon today because it's the Prime discount day. Should I not have? Is that bad?
That's fine. No, I'm not against it, actually. I have my own weighted vest with Kai, so I don't need one. But no, I'm
How
not against
heavy should I get one? I got the 6 pound.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, honestly, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm just a big believer that like walking is one of the best things you can do. So if you have a little bit of weight on your back, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So many people have them here in Colorado.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
People in Colorado are like really into supplements.
And just outdoorsy.
And weighted vests.
Mate, okay, this is one cool thing though. And me and Carly mentioned this last night. Kai's like in his element here. Like everything is made for dogs and families. Like breweries is just like outdoor space. It's unreal, right? Like live music everywhere. We have not seen one kid on an iPad since we've been here. Not one.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So we've that's I think why we love it as well. Like, there's just not, it's crazy.
It's not the thing. Because
No,
if
it's
you're
not the thing.
running, you're at a place where it's okay for the kid to be loud and run around and be a kid.
Yeah.
And you don't have to necessarily be quiet at the restaurant.
Yeah, like I'm sure if we went to a restaurant, there probably would be some iPads, but we're not iPad people, so. But it's just been really
Good, I love
refreshing.
that.
Yeah, it's been really refreshing to kind of have that.
That's
So,
nice. That's
it's
nice.
been
Look
good.
at us being
I
all
know.
healthy and
I know.
gut health and iPad free and
Well, I'm
weighted vests.
drinking a lot of beer, so I wouldn't say I'm being overly healthy.
Yeah, but you're also doing altitude training. So.
Yeah, that's true. I'm doing Hell's Week for the Marines.
So before we get to our guest, we have a really great guest today, Dave Phillips, who's the co-founder of TPI, the Titleist Performance Institute.
Which I nerded out over.
Yeah. I've never seen Mel be so nerdy ever.
I didn't even know I was that nerdy.
Me neither.
No, but hey, surprise us all.
Yeah, it was really cool. But before we get to our guest, one last thing. Did you see the Max Homa thing?
Yeah,
because we always talk about the crazy DMs that we get, but this is some crazy shit.
Yep. Please. I'm sorry. What the fuck is wrong with people?
I mean,
like,
he
seriously.
basically got this DM that he posted, which I love that he posted it because it's it's important to take the high road, but every once in a while,
you need to shame them.
You just in general, just for as like a PSA for the world.
Yeah.
This person basically said that they hope that Max kills himself. He's such a shit golfer. Hang it up. I don't even want to say some of this stuff.
It was bad.
So a gay slur, perfect. Stop crying like a, you know what, and win for once. You're a whatever. And then Max posted a screenshot of it with, I think he lost his parlay, crying, smiley face, crying laughing.
I mean, but seriously though, what is wrong with people? I felt like,
He's also getting Venmo requests.
Oh no, some guy sent him $1,900 Venmo request because he lost it or something. He's like, something about not being able to finish the line. Goes, thanks, asshole. You just cost me $1,900.
Oh, but what about the accountability of you are the one that decided to gamble?
Oh, I know.
That is the nature of gambling.
No, I know.
You lose.
I know. But yeah, the stuff, I mean, yeah, some of the stuff people have to deal with, it's just absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it?
I mean, I'm just so glad that he posted that because, like, what a loser.
Do you know what? I actually might go through my DMs. Kylie loves doing this. Like, you know, like the random people DMs, because we get quite a few, like, not like just shitty ones. And
I'm sure you do.
We should have an episode where we read out the DMs.
Just read out.
Yeah.
It's like that. Have you ever seen the segment Mean Tweets on Jimmy Kimmel? I think it's Jimmy Kimmel where the celebrities read mean tweets about themselves. We should absolutely do that.
We should. Oh, hilarious. And just quietly, Lottie Wode as well. One.
Oh my gosh.
Dude.
Not even quietly.
No. Not even quietly.
Tell us about it.
Well, there's not really much to tell, really. I mean, she had a 7-shot lead going into the last day, ends up obviously winning
the
Irish
Open?
Women's KPMG Irish Open, yeah. And like it wasn't, okay, it's a tournament in Europe, so it's not as strong as an LPGA field, but they still had Madeline Sackstrom, Charlie Hill, Georgia Hall. Like it was still Leonie Maguire, it was still a very strong field. And she basically just destroyed them, just left them in the dust.
Amazing. New star.
Incredible.
Star is born.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of things. I actually watched her a little bit at the US Open. Heard a lot of good things about her. Just really hard worker. Like there's no talent there. Like it's complete hard work. And her coach has kind of installed that into her. So I love that attitude of her. And she's got obviously a shit ton of self-belief.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited to see where she goes, especially being British. And we'll see. But yeah, very impressive. Well done. Very well done from Lottie.
I know her a little bit because of the Augusta National Women's Amateur. And when she won, every girl fills out a kind of a fun fact sheet about themselves. And one of the questions on the questionnaire is, what would be your Masters Champions dinner menu? And you would appreciate this. She said she would have a full English, like a roast and mashed potatoes and all the fixings and all of that stuff was her champions dinner that she would have. So I'm sure she'll be having many champions dinners in her future.
Oh, yeah.
But her coach, she went to FSU, Coach Bond, I believe, told us that when they recruited Lottie, it was during COVID. They'd never met her. They'd never seen her play in person. And she was kind of like not all that highly recruited. She was just trying to navigate college recruitment during COVID. And so they kind of blind date ended up together, and they were like, yeah, I mean, I think this girl has some potential. Let's see. And they ended up finding such a diamond in the rough, and look what she's turned into. And she's just going to be such a star.
Couldn't agree more. So very cool.
Speaking of London, I was watching Love Island yesterday, and they had a soccer player from Derby, England. Come
really?
on.
Who was it?
As a bombshell. I don't know, some guy.
Oh, some guy.
A guy.
Okay,
he's a semi-professional footballer.
Okay, I'll have a look into it. I'll have a look into it.
I know what Derby is.
Oh my God.
Do you know Mel?
I'm going to look into that. Carly wants to start watching it because she cannot believe that we don't watch it. So we're going to start watching it. I need to start getting.
But you have to start with the right season. You have to start with the season where Chris Hughes and Olivia.
I've watched that one though.
Oh,
you
don't like it from that?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why. I think it's when they stop drinking and stuff. I found it a bit boring. But yeah.
But this season, they're all being really mean to each other. It's
perfect. Okay.
great, but also kind of sad.
Well, yeah, it's the TV business, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll get me and Carly will start watching it then.
Okay, great.
Is that all right with you, Carly?
Hi, Carly. When are we going to have Carly on the show?
When do you want to go on the show? She's ready.
She's ready? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
get her on.
We'll get that scheduled ASAP. Okay, so our interview today, Dave Phillips, Mel was her nerdiest self. It was super interesting to talk to him about.
Very interesting guy. Very interesting
everything
guy.
that you can do from a scratch golfer to a beginner golfer. And it's probably the girliest conversation he's ever had, but he was a great story about it.
I honestly, he was brilliant. He was really, I thought he was obviously very well spoken, articulated himself very, very well. And it's just fascinating. Like people just, they think you can just go to a golf coach when actually you do need to get your body, tested, see what capabilities you got, what functions you got. See?
Theme of the week.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone enjoys this listen because I absolutely loved having him on and picking his brain.
Yep. Super grateful to Dave for the time. Hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you next week. All right, well, Quiet Please is so pleased to welcome Dave Phillips to the show. Dave is the co-founder of TPI and member of the PGA of America, such an expert in the golf swing, and top 100 golf instructor in Golf Magazine, top 50 in Digest. Yeah. For Wellness is an amazing company that you're obviously a part of. So many things. Such a long bio, Dave.
I've been around a long time.
You've accomplished a lot in the game.
I was just going to say, what's your, I just want to get to the bottom of, what is your, tell us about your story getting into TPI, you from South Africa. Yeah. How did you, what's been your journey so far, basically, into how did you get into the TPI
I had a crazy childhood. So I was born in England. I was born in Gloucester, actually. My parents are from Sheffield, Yorkshire people. And my dad was in the military, and I grew up in Africa. So I actually grew up in East Africa in Kenya, but then very quickly lived all over Africa and through Saudi Arabia into the Middle East, the Far East. Eventually, my parents immigrated to Australia. But one of the common grounds for me growing up was golf. So, every third world country I lived in, my dad would join the golf club because it was actually the social setting. That's where you got to meet other people in these countries. And it was a great connection thing for him. So as a young kid, it was probably the safest place without me getting bitten by a snake or eaten by something crazy. So they used to just drop me off at the golf course. And like most young kids, I just played golf all day, especially in the summertime, sun up to sundown, and got really good at golf. And then eventually made my way to America and got involved. I went to a small school, Division II school called Eckerd College in St. Pete, Florida, for golf and football or soccer, and played for them. And at the time, it was really just a way for me to get out of Africa. I actually got accepted to quite a few schools, but they were the first one when I was living in Botswana to offer me a scholarship to get out. And they had an international business program. I didn't know what to do in school, so I like, yeah, I'll do international business. So I took their international business program, and then kept playing golf. Then after college, I played, on some different tours, mini tours, and then I played in a few European tour events, some Asian tour events that I qualified for. And then eventually had an injury to my lower back and started studying biomechanics and the body and how it worked. And got involved with working with David Ledbetter at Lake Nona at the time. He had the best stable of athletes. I mean, we had Faldo and Ernie and Nick Price and Dennis Watson, and they were the best. So I got this crash course being around the elite athletes, and I knew their upbringing growing up in Africa. So that was my kind of intro to the golf world. And then that led me on from there to kind of building my own network, working with elite level players kind of in the early 90s, mid 90s. And then I worked on the east coast of Florida, east coast of Maryland at a place called Caves Valley Golf Club.
Oh yeah, the BMW is going to be there this year.
It is, yeah.
I'll be there. I've been there before once.
Yeah, so I built their learning center for them. And then that's when I met my business partner, Dr. Greg Rose, who was in Washington, D.C. And he was the first guy really in the late 90s that was looking at biomechanics, human movement, assessment screens, trying to figure out how an athlete moved and then match the golf swing to them. And that just resonated with me. So I spent a lot of time with him. And then we created this idea that we pitched to Titleist. And at the time, the CEO of Titleist thought it was a great idea, which was good for us. And we pitched the first real Olympic-style training center for golf. And that was what took us to California and building the Titleist Performance Institute. And that's now, it's actually in the midst of a major renovation. It's 20 plus years old. And we built an education platform. We have about 35,000 TPI certified instructors in 66 countries. We educate in 10 languages. So it's just ongoing. It's been amazing.
So when you were developing this, because obviously golf, physical fitness of golf was kind of very different in the 90s. And I feel like Tiger really elevated, actually we're athletes and you got to treat yourself like an athlete, like nutrition and everything. So what was your first group of players that you actually worked with? And how did you kind of get them on board?
Yeah, so at the time, the pitch really was because of Tiger. When he first came out in 97, Greg and I were like, this kid's doing something that other people aren't doing. And we started looking at it a bit more. And he was a Titleist player when he first came out. And so we had some access kind of to what he was doing through Butch and so on. And I started, actually, Brad Faxon, Tom Kite, those were kind of the first ones. Tom would do anything and everything and grind away like you can't believe. So he wanted to know. And what was really amazing is we got this crash course because at the time when we first started TPI, they had the match play out there. It was actually at La Costa. And Wally Uline had arranged for 30 of the top 60 players in the world to be at the facility for us to test. So in 2 days, we tested Davis Love, Mark O'Meara, Phil Mickelson, who was on the Titleist staff, Adam Scott when he was a young kid. So we immediately got to see where the biomechanics and doing human assessment screens matched. And when that happened, it just exploded. Then every player wanted to do it. And it's become kind of a staple today that you need to understand how your body moves, right? And if you understand how your body moves, it's actually not that hard to swing well and consistently. Where most players get into trouble is they start searching or looking at what the better player might be doing and trying to match it. But that might not be what you should be doing because physically you can't do what they do. And that was really the big eye-opener for TPI and how we started.
What was it like developing all of this in the era of Tiger doing what he was doing?
Well, it was incredible, right? Because, he's still today looked at as, the greatest player of all time. Arguably, obviously, Jack Nicklaus's record is a little bit better, but, he really changed the way golf was looked at, right? Here was this young guy that produced incredible speed. And, a lot of people think that he got injured because of that. A lot of his injuries actually came from other things like running and playing basketball, which just, kind of spiraled. And we didn't really work with Tiger. At the time he had kind of moved off. Probably one of the younger guys that came in early was Rory. So Rory, when he was 17, Padraig Harrington brought him in. And he was complaining of lower back pain. He had this kind of hip motion that was so fast, it would actually stop, go backwards, and start again. and it created a lot of stress in his lower body. So we physically assessed Rory and said, listen, you need to get stronger. You have incredible talent. You have an amazing, his kinematic sequence was perfect. Everything biomechanically was great, but his body couldn't handle it. And that's where he took it on himself to get a trainer, get stronger, and then he went off and running. And now that's still the protocol today. We see a lot of young athletes getting injured because they're training for speed and trying to hit it further, but they don't have the structure and they don't have the team around them to build the athlete first. So that's why we love kids that come from multiple sports. I love kids that play every sport. Don't get pigeonholed into golf right away.
That's actually the exact question I was going to ask. Like, I grew up playing multiple sports and always have done. Like, I'll still have a kickabout and things like that. And I think that that's been like a blessing in a way, because I've never been, like you say, pigeonholed into being a golfer. So I was actually going to say, would you recommend young kids, if I meet a 10-year-old who's super talented at golf, I see so many of them just playing golf, and I'm like, please go and I think it will benefit you in the long run if you play other sports.
Absolutely. It is the foundation. If you look at the best in the world and ask them what they did when they were young, they played everything. So, when you pigeonhole somebody, you can't figure out talent when they're 12 or 13. They just haven't developed yet. So you may have this superstar that has this beautiful little golf swing when they're 8, 9, 10 years old. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the kid that looks like they're falling over, but they hit it as hard as they can because they're developing the things we need to build speed. We can teach them how to hit it straight when they get older. But, I see a lot of kids with these perfect looking golf swings when they're young, and those aren't necessarily the best. They don't always turn out the best. You want the athlete first, always.
What are some of because I feel like in reporting life, I'm constantly hearing about spinal fusions and torn labrums and these very common golfer injuries. What are some of the things that you've studied that you've been able to apply to your athletes to help them avoid those sorts of injuries?
So the biggest thing for us is everybody starts with a movement screen, right? I need to know how you're moving. So the body works in an alternating pattern of stable segments connected to mobile joints. So your foot should have an arch in it. If you've lost that and it's flat, well, it's unstable. If it has an arch in it, it's stable. The ankle should be mobile, the knee should be stable, the hip should be mobile, lower back stable, thoracic spine mobile. It's an alternating pattern. So what the screen does is it checks this pattern. And if someone's complaining in lower back pain, 99% of the time, it's because their hips are doing what the back should be doing. So, this position we're sitting in right now, sitting, it turns off the glute, it tightens the hamstrings, it shortens the hip flexor. So, we need to get up and move. And this is the big thing. And most people that go down with lower back pain, structurally, some people can be born with hips that are tighter, but we can work around that if we know. If we don't know, you're just going to keep doing it until you tear your hip or you need a hip labrum surgery or so on and so forth. All of these things can be avoided. It's just a matter of volumes. It's like putting too much volume on a body that can't handle it. So I'm always looking at how can I make it like when we were born, alternating pattern. And if we lose that, that's the basis of any exercise program, is that your hips are tight. Let's fix that first. And usually your back pain will go away and your knee pain will go away.
So when did you first start working with women? Because I feel
we've worked with women as well, ever since probably IK Kim was probably one of the first that we worked with a lot because she was local. So she came in quite a bit when we were in Oceanside and worked with us. And, we got to see Michelle Wee when she was younger, and you could see the speed that she could create, but the structure wasn't quite there either. She reminded me a lot of Rory, wiry, move the club very fast. And ladies, you tend to have more mobility than men. And that is a huge asset, but it can also be a detriment as well. When you look at leg strength, you have muscle fiber wise, men tend to have, you have about 80% of what men have. So to me, strength in the legs for ladies is paramount. You've got to keep your leg strength and you've got to use that. And that today, more than anything, is the foundation of the golf swing. They talk about force and pressure more than anything today and how we push against the ground to create rotation. Well, to me, that's the key for lady golfers, is you've got to understand how to create speed with your legs, because you have great leg strength. And then if I can control some of your hypermobility, your movement, and keep everything in check and let your legs drive everything, the legs should drive the arms. They do in the very best. So, we handle it a little bit differently just because of structure, but basically it's still the assessment screen. How are you moving?
So you're saying I should use my big muscles in my golf swing and not just try to power through with my arms, Dave?
Yes, I am absolutely saying that. Absolutely saying that.
So when you're talking about leg strength, sorry, I'm being a total nerd here. I'm super
I
fascinated
love
by
it.
this.
I love Mel and
it.
nerd mode.
I love proper nerd mode. Kira had her nerd mode when we were doing theatrical stuff, like
Oh,
Wicked
yeah.
and stuff. This is more my jam, Dave.
I'm ready for it.
Like, so when you talk about leg strength for women, are you talking about compound movements, or are you talking about, like, do you need to mix that up? Because I always did a load of compound movements. My trainer was fantastic, and we did a bunch of like squats, reverse lunges. I had to get my legs really strong, but then for me, I had to be very springy as well. So
Yes.
can you just explain a little bit of where you would
So
start?
that is absolutely right. That's great. I mean, I still think muscle fiber. I want the muscle, so I'm not opposed to deadlifting or squatting with weight, any of that type of stuff. Lunges, all of those things are great for generating leg strength and getting the glute strength. What we're trying to really do is create that structure so that we can stabilize. So most lady golfers, when we test them, they're usually way more mobile than men. They've got rotations, and we're trying to create some structure to stop it. But it starts with that foundation. The worst thing you want is legs that are moving too much, because then it's like a building with the foundation, right? If it's moving too much, I can't use what I have. So most lady golfers, to me, should be using their flexibility against a stable base, so that, because they can really stretch. And then we can create that firing mechanism that unloads. But if the lower body is going with them or moving too much, it's very hard to use what they have. And I tell just average golfers all the time, country club golfers, I'm amazed. Like, I love watching the LPGA Tour. I really do, because to me, I'm like, this is what everybody should be watching. You're watching the male golfers on the senior tour, on the regular tour, hitting at 190 ball speed. The average person at a country club, male, has the same kind of speeds, a 10, 15 handicap, 8-5 handicap, as a lot of female professionals who play incredibly well and are really good. And you're not watching them. You should be watching them and looking at their set makeups and looking at what they're using, because they match what you're doing much better than looking at, John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler or whatever.
So I think that Mel and I have always felt that anecdotally research around biomechanics in golf has really been focused on male golf swings and the male body. And then a lot of those principles try to be applied by instructors to the female body, which, as you've just explained, is not a realistic concept. So how has the research in the field developed for women specifically, and that focus on women's bodies and what it kind of looks like today?
Great question. And I think it's been driven wrong in many ways. And I think that when we first built TPI, the first thing we did is develop an advisory board, and we have a lady on there, Janet Alexander, who is the ultimate in women's fitness and health in terms of understanding hormonal things that you go through that we don't go through, how it affects your muscles. She is part of our network. And I defer to Janet all the time, and I ask her for help all the time. And she is incredible. And, we have a whole research group with her that specializes in the difference between men and women, because we are different. And, you can't train the same as we do, and you can't swing it the same. Well, it can look the same, but the things you're using are different. So biomechanically and physically, the screen is still the same. I'm still going to do this assessment screen because it will identify hypermobility, and then I know what to work on strength-wise. Biomechanically, most elite level players swing the same. Their sequences, the way they use their lower body, core, arms, club is the same. Feet and the way we push against the ground, again, that's kinetics, and that creates rotation. Men tend to have more mass than ladies, so they don't have to push as hard as ladies. Ladies actually have to push hard against the ground. This is why leg strength and what you were talking about earlier, Mel, and plyometrics and developing like lunge mechanisms and jumping mechanisms, those are huge for lady golfers.
So what's your process? Like, how long does an assessment take, or is it completely individual? Or
So
talk me through the process of the assessment, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I mean, the minimum would be 3 hours, right, for us to take somebody in. So it's 3 hours. We do our complete assessment physically. We test you for power. So I'm looking at lower body strength, core strength, upper body strength. And then I look at the kinetics, how you use the ground. And then I look at kinematics, which is biomechanics, 3D analysis of how you move. And then we present that to your team. Or we sit down if you don't have a team and help you build a team.
Oh, we have a team.
You have a team? Then even better.
You're looking at it.
Even better.
I want you to present your findings to Mel.
And I'll relate back in Kira terms.
She can translate.
The problem is if you come out and I take you through this, you'll probably come out of retirement. And I know you're trying to retire, so.
No, I've never really had like an assessment like that. Like I've always wanted to come out and see you guys and just be like, I just would like to see like how my body works, like how I should was I swinging it well or to my body when I was playing, because I could always get in little bad habits. And, you know, I've had people kind of change things and it's not worked. And I'm like, why can I not do that? Because I feel quite like I worked so hard on my body. So I would absolutely love to come down and get an assessment, and I'd have to hit some balls before, because at the minute I can't hit the middle of the face. But yeah, it would be awesome. We should do that, Kira.
I think we should do it both and just compare our experiences.
Yes.
Because I can speak to the amateur golfer and the ladies that just want to enjoy themselves more on the golf course, and you can speak to the professional experience, Mel.
Yeah.
We can film the whole thing. We can put it on your channel. It'd be great.
That would be awesome.
Okay. All right. Be we wish for it, Dave. We will show up. No casual offers around here. So is this something that, like, let's say I just started playing golf and I have joined the frustrating world of golf. How is this something that even a bit of a novice golfer could go and do? Or is this something that you would recommend to wait, you know, a year or two into your actual golf experience?
So there's a couple things. Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to benefit any level of golfer. Now, obviously, schedule-wise, to get to Greg and I is pretty deep. I mean, we're deep like 8 months out, so it's a bit crazy. But
it's a big commitment. Yeah.
This is why we built an army out there, right? So we can identify someone. If you go to just our mytpi.com website and put in your zip code, we can find you someone that can do a full physical assessment screen, show you how you move and related to your golf swing, especially if you're starting and you're starting to get some pain. That would be, because it could be the golf swing causing it, or it could be a movement pattern that you're not used to causing it. So, we want everybody to keep playing this game. It's why we built TPI, is to extend the longevity of a golfer and keep them playing longer. So, you can find somebody in your local area that can take you through an assessment for sure.
And I just want to ask, like, how much have you seen the game change in the last 20 years from a physical standpoint? Like, I feel like the guys now are coming out of college and and the girls, to be honest, like, they're both
they're ready.
They're ready to go. Like, they are built differently. Like, they've been training differently. Like, I never had this access, and that was only 20 years ago. Like, I never, I had to kind of figure it out on my own. Like, even when we would go to, like, England training camps, we never really did any strength training. I had to do it on my own at home and figure all that out on myself. So I just wanted to get your perspective on, like, how you think the game is changing, where you think it's going, like.
Yeah, it's a big one. You're right. The Division I schools have such incredible facilities that if you're in a top 20 school, by the time you come out, you should be ready for the tour. There's no, they're just so good. I mean, the only reason you wouldn't be ready is now you have to pay for everything and the school's been paying for it, right? And that's a big shock.
It's the off-course things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
which is a big adjustment, by the way.
I mean, look at some of these facilities, right? ASU's facility, Texas's facility.
Vanderbilt,
they have access
crazy.
to incredible gyms, the recovery. So it's amazing. And they have great coaching. And a lot of these kids coming out are just well ahead because they are training. They're seeing what the best players are doing, and they're able to build that team in college so that they're ready to go. Now, I do believe that when we talk about speed, there is a point of no return in that there's, to me, a playing speed. I think Rory's about at that playing speed. I think you get much faster than that. It's difficult to control. It's difficult to use it on golf courses, right? So Bryson has some of that, where he's backed off. I mean, we've seen the long drive stuff where he can crack this, but he plays at more of a playing speed. And I see college kids at that speed already that he's playing at. So, they're talking about rolling back the golf ball and things like that. That won't matter. That to me is silly, right? Because really it's agronomy, which it proved it at the US Open this year. If you grow the rough long and you change the golf course, you can keep the score even par. It really doesn't matter. So it all comes down to agronomy. I think sometimes they get, carried away with, oh, we're going to change this. We'll figure out how to make the athlete better. You can't control the athlete, right? So now even neuroscience and the learning of the brain, and we're now able to study the brain without drilling electrodes into your head in ways where we know how to build practice programs better for you as opposed to you. So doesn't matter what they do with equipment, we can still push the envelope, and that's the nature of the beast. We will always do that. So to me, if you're trying to look at where the golf is going to go, there is a ceiling. We're almost at it because I think any faster and people will break there. And we're already seeing that with young players coming out of college that don't have the structure. We're seeing, fractures in their back, hip issues. So I think we're at that. And then to me, if you're really trying to manage the game, it's more about agronomy and building golf courses that force you to hit certain shots.
So a lot of the listeners of this show are probably more passive golf consumers or amateur golfers, people that are just interested in the golf pop culture, I guess you could say, the golf zeitgeist. And a lot of them probably would have heard the golf rollback debate. And obviously a lot of that is focused on equipment. But if you were explaining the golf rollback world to somebody that just knows that terminology from a passive standpoint, how would you explain what that is right now in the golf landscape?
Sure. So we'll keep it simple. I'm sorry, I kind of went down a tangent.
No. I love that, but it's a great way for people to learn about, what's actually, because it's a huge issue right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the USGA, which governs amateur golf, and they create the rules of golf along with the RNA, which is the Royal and Ancient, which is the European side. And because they create the rules, they feel like the golf ball today is going too far. And they want to reduce that and create this golf ball that doesn't go as far. Now, in 2028, they're trying to push it that professional golfers will use this golf ball. And in 2030, we will all use this golf ball, which gets rid of the current golf balls of the day and brings the distance back. Now, they claim that at a certain speed, you will lose more than you will at a lower speed. So it might not affect the amateur golfer that much. But we already know, because we've been testing the golf ball, that it does. So to me, I think golf has never been in a better place than it is right now. It's booming like crazy. The fastest part of that is ladies golf is growing astronomically right now. My daughter's 23 years old, just graduated college, and is going to the range every day. And she didn't even want to play golf when I was, I'm like, how come you wouldn't go out and play golf? Now it's all golf.
It's cool now, Dad.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah,
Kira and Mel have a podcast about it.
Exactly.
It's like a whole thing.
Clothing's cool. Everything's cool.
The girlies are in.
So it's exciting for somebody like me. I'm like, this is great. My daughter's playing golf. And to me, golf is in this spot where people are enjoying it. So why would we then kind of roll the golf ball back? I just don't get it, because really what's changed the game, Mel, and this you probably agree with this. The technology around understanding what the golf ball does and the club does. Launch monitors, right? Every player drops down a launch monitor. So it's a piece of technology that shows me attack angle, spin rates. I can now modify my club and the golf ball and my conditions to make me optimize my distance, right? That was never around before. The other big factor that is affecting golf that nobody talks about, 50% of the game is putting. Yet putting has no restrictions on it. There are putters coming out that basically swing themselves. And to me, that's wrong. That's against the game. So there are lots of ways you can curb this game, but in terms of the golf ball rollback, basically what's happening is in 2030, we're all going to go to a golf ball that doesn't go as far as today's golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Like, where are the days, like when I was practicing when I was 15, 16, I used to stick an umbrella like in the ground and just guess it was 50, like pace out 50 yards and just try and hit it. And have no idea what really I was doing, but there was no technology. Like you say, nowadays, every single player has a launch monitor and knows exactly how they're hitting it, exactly how far they're hitting it. Even they can customize it to the actual weather and things like that. Like it's nuts to me. Like I think technology is just, it's exactly why the game is booming in a lot of ways. But I'm also like, God, I wonder how good these players would have been if they would have had to have like grown up without, you know, like the red markers at 150 and I had to like kind of pace and just look at the flag and go, I think it's in the middle. Like, it's crazy.
Like most British courses, right? I mean, you play in England, there isn't markers on the sprinkler. There's not yardages on a lot of the sprinkler heads at the old golf course. You're just kind of guessing. I think I'll just, you know, it's in between a 7 and an 8. I think I'll hit a little bit more, land it short. That's the creativeness of agronomy in the golf courses. And I think these green books and, you know, to me, I'm a little anti-aim point on the green.
I was going to ask you that, Dave. I wanted your opinion on that.
Where are all the hot button issues?
Yeah, no,
it's crazy to me. You know, I'm a bit of a purist in that I'm like, I get it, and it's brilliant, and it's helped a lot of people. But you're walking over the hole and stepping on either side of the hole. I mean, the footprints around the hole at the end of the day must be unbelievable that you can straddle the line. And
and the caddies, by the way.
On your line, but you're stepping on the guy behind you's line or the guy who's coming, you know.
Aim point is so fascinating to me, especially in junior golf right now. I've worked some junior golf events for broadcasts, and they show these kids doing aim point for legitimately 3 to 4 minutes to read a putt. And, you know, they're kids, so they blow it 6 feet past or it comes up short. But in my mind, I'm like, if you're going to do aim point and step all around this hole, you better be making that putt. Because we all just sat here for 3 to 4 minutes waiting for you to do this. It's pretty wild.
I went to a 13 to 14-year-old junior tournament, threesomes, 5.5 hours. And I'm like, 5.5 hours? I would have played 36 back in the day in 5 hours. You know, as a kid, you just step up and hit it. And today it was like, this is part of the problem. I mean, even majors. I mean, the fact that twosomes are playing in like 4.5, 5 hours at a major, that alone is ridiculous. You know,
this is going to get Mel going.
Dave, we did at KPMG, they were in 2 balls and they turned the front 9 in 3 hours and 15 minutes.
It's crazy.
It's ludicrous.
It's crazy. I mean, even like, you know, Kira, when you look at events now, so I have a big pet peeve that at majors, during the practice rounds, there should be a shot clock on the green. And when everybody gets on the green, you have 5 minutes to do your stuff and then you move on. Because when we, at the US Open, it took us 3 hours, 45 minutes to play 7 holes in the practice round. And I'm sitting there going, what are we even doing out here?
Yeah.
Well, what's the point? And that hurts the fan who's paid for a ticket to come and watch. Most players, it used to be that they would play 18. No player plays 18 anymore. They play 9 on Tuesday, 9 on Wednesday. They usually come the week before or 2 weeks before and get their work done, and they want to get out of there. Some of them don't even show up till Wednesday. That hurts the fan. And it's because they've allowed this to get so slow. It's crazy.
It is nice.
Yeah, I always, you know, I play in some pro-ams, and obviously the pro is using that time to prepare, and you watch them go through their work, and, you know, I'm just there for fun, so I just putt out and go stand on the next tee and wait for them, and, you know, sometimes you're waiting for a long time for them to finish up, and, you know, I understand they're doing their work, but part of it is also like, man, we've been out here for a long time.
Yeah, that's right.
It's too much, Kira. It's way too much. So I just want to get into a little bit because, like, I have a lot of friends who play other professional sports like football, soccer, and cricket and stuff, and they think that we are absolute psychos at golfers. The amount of work that we put in, then we get to the golf course 2 hours, 3 hours before, do our warm up, little gym routine, then we hit balls, then we play 18, then we come back and hit more balls. Like, they just think it's just craziness. So I wanted to get into, like, what is your thought on, like, recovery nowadays? And obviously you've got your, you know, nutrition for wellness, which I absolutely loved, by the way. I generally used that for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's amazing stuff. Like, I've seen a massive different, like every single locker room now has them Neurotech, like legs, we have ice baths. Like, what's your thought on it? Because I'm just curious whether you think that golfers need that or whether
I,
we're
I,
just
I think recovery is more important than actually warm up, honestly. I think
really,
after the round, getting your body to rest and then getting it optimized for sleep, which is really where your body repairs itself, is the secret source. And you know, a lot of players now, the recovery is primary, how you wind your body down. And the reason being, and you know, for your other athletes, you know, a lot of them don't realize the day of golf that you have, right? So you show up to the course maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, some players 2.5 hours, 3 hours before their tee time. You know, so if you got a 7 o'clock tee time, it's 4:30, 5 o'clock wake up call to get you there, right? A lot of sports like football and so on, and they've got a time period that they need to be there, and then their match is 90 minutes or whatever. You're playing for 5.5 hours, right? Because of how
If you're
long
lucky.
yeah.
if you're lucky. And that you've still got to warm up. And then, yeah, you might want to do some work after the round to get bad thoughts or work on something you did. So it's a long day, and they are long days. And so to me, getting your brain to wind down, and this is really what created the Full Wellness brand and why I created this other company, was I was looking at what other athletes were taking, what they weren't taking, and what kinds of things I could create that might actually be easy for them to take. Because that's the other thing is, I don't know how many times you've been given vitamins. There are some people that are regimented vitamin takers. I'm not. I don't feel any different. And I take them for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, I don't feel any different. And I got to carry all this stuff around with me. I'm not taking it anymore. Right. But that's just who I am. There are some people that are like, I'm doing this and I feel better. But like, there's so much going on that you've got to create simplicity and a habit around it so that you'll do it every day. And I think that's kind of what we fall into as professional athletes, is that you see what others are doing and you go, well, I'll try that. And then you might feel a little bit better or play a little better. And now it just becomes part of your routine. But I always look at routines as routines can become just that, a routine, where you're not paying attention to it and you're just doing it. I kind of like ritual as a word because that's how I make my coffee in the morning, right? So it's a ritual for me. It gets me up. There's a process. It takes me 3-4 minutes. I grind the beans a certain way. I make my coffee. It's a ritual. It's not a habit where I'm just going through the motions, or a routine where I'm just going through the motions. And I think that's the very danger of elite athletes, is it becomes routine. Oh, we do this every day. We do our warm-ups every day. But you're not really thinking about them and creating the connection. So they're really not working. And that's the danger. So to me, recovery becomes more of that ritual. It's a way to wind down your body and force your body into this state of repair.
And what would your ideal recovery be? So I've just played, let's talk about KPMG last week, because I saw it was 95 degrees, it was hot, it was windy, the golf course was very mentally challenging. And I just saw player after player still going to the range, and I'm like, girls, you've been out in like this ridiculous, but as a golfer, I would probably have gone back to the range because I'm like, oh, I didn't like that 7-iron I hit on, so I'm just curious because I wish I would have done things a little bit differently.
So I think it is different for everybody. There are certain people that's, golf swing wise, there's certain people that hitting golf balls is like a calming thing for them. It's the way they wind themselves down. So that could be part of it. There are others like a John Rahm who I coach. John, he's done. Like, after I come off the golf course, why would I go back to the range when I'm exhausted? I need to eat. I need to fuel myself. I need to relax. And then maybe I'll go hit a few putts or chip a little bit and maybe hit 5 or 6 balls. But that might be an hour and a half later. He really needs to get, his body repairing or recovering by fueling it. So to me, number one is I got to get you fueled. I got to get you off the golf course. We have patches now that show hydration. There's some things that we do to look at how hydrated you are and whether you're accepting it. This is why getting blood work done is so important. We use Dr. Andy Galpin, who's the best in the world at looking blood. And we get that on a regular basis so we can see nutritionally how you're reacting to different environments. Like, is it 90 degrees and humid? Is it cold? How does your body react in these different environments? And what nutrients should we be taking, and how do we prepare that recovery? So it is pretty intense to go through it, but elite level athletes, this is your livelihood. So to me, I need to fuel you. I need to wind you down. I probably do some kind of massage therapy just to get the muscles, get the fluid out, get the muscles out. We do some cold plunging. Some players love cold plunge, some hate it. Just to try and just get that body relaxed in a state. That's kind of how we start. How
many tour players are you currently working with, and how much are you actually out on tour?
So I've had both sides where I've coached a lot, and I don't like that because I don't really feel that you could give your players time. So to me, I'm at a stage in my life where John is my main guy. I've worked with Jon Rahm since he was 17 years old. He came to us with a lot of physical issues with his club foot and so on, and we built that plan. And that plan works really well because of the team we have. John doesn't.
I would say it works pretty well. Yeah, he's doing okay.
I'd say you've done okay with him.
Consistent player. You know, when you think about, especially today with the world travel he has, he's a very consistent player. And then I've got some younger players that I see Jon Rahm in them. So I love the 19, 20-year-old that is developing, that I can kind of look at and go, I think I can do what I did with him to that one. And I've got a young player on Live called David Puig, who I think could be a superstar. He's again gone through a few physical issues recently, but he is a phenomenal talent. Incredible short game, and I've got a couple other younger players that I work with. But you know, I get asked a lot. I just choose to do this now at this point in my life. I don't feel like having a lot of players is good for me, and it's not good for them because I can't give them the time.
Who's the most impressive woman you've ever met, like from a physical standpoint, with potential and
so
just the way the body moves, I guess?
Probably. Let me think about this, because actually I've had a few that have been really incredible in terms of strength and power.
This is before you've done Kira so far, so just to
warn you that
Kira,
we have to caveat
Kira,
that because I am just an athlete you can't imagine. Yeah,
specimen,
and complete specimen.
Maria Fassi was exceptional. She's got great lower body strength, exceptionally strong glute, hip mechanics. Really good, in terms of the way she stabilizes that lower body, and she's powerful. She generates speed as well, right? Carlotta Segander, is it? I can't pronounce.
Oh, Mel's bestie.
One of my bezies, yeah.
Yeah, amazing talent.
Yeah.
Like I look at her and go, and she should be at a whole nother level because she has incredible talent. Again, very powerful, great strength. She was very impressive when we did the physical assessment screens. Most ladies do better on our physical screen than men, honestly. You move better than men.
Obviously.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So we knew that, Dave.
You know that already.
We're not shocked by this.
So you do move better. It's funny. We have an assessment screen that we take you through these tests, and I've only ever had 2 male golfers complete it perfectly. One was Adam Scott.
Of course.
Adam Scott, right? Look at that. Like 44 years old.
So perfect.
It's unbelievable, right?
He really is.
He's the only one. And I've had, Maria, I've had Beatrice Ricaria, I've had tons of ladies just like, oh yeah, this is easy. I'm like, damn, there must be something wrong with my screen. But no, it's amazing.
That's what about hilarious. Emily Pedersen? So she's another good one, my friends. And I think she's one of the most physically gifted. I say gifted. She obviously works extremely hard at it, so I shouldn't really use that word. But I'm just like, how are you not you hit it a mile? Like your lower body strength is incredible. Like your rotation is incredible. Like how are you not? I know there's a lot more to it than just the body, but I'm always like, mate, how are you not top 20 in the world? Like how?
Yes. So there is and listen, I don't know who her coaching team is, and this doesn't pertain directly to her, but you will resonate with this. To me, coaching and teams is a big business. And I think that there's a lot of over-coaching going on. And I think that we need to simplify the message to the athlete so that they can perform instead of always be in their face and always give them feedback when they're begging for it. Because sometimes you just need to figure it out, right? And this is where I always put players in, I call it OCC, which is just an acronym for me. I call it Oceanside, Carlsbad, California, because that's where we are, OCC. And it actually came from a business principle that I learned way back from IBM, and it was by a Welsh IBM team. And most people don't even know what Wales is. I mean, we'll laugh because it's Great Britain, but
I know what Wales is, Dave. Don't worry.
Right, you know what it is. It's not just a fish in the ocean. It's an actual country that has its own language, which is even more crazy.
Oh, Mel's been teaching me. How do you say toaster again, or microwave?
Microwave. Pop to ping.
Pop to ping. Yeah. See, there we go.
Incredible.
Big Wales fans around here.
Which is right by Cardiff, which was a big rugby town. So I have a passion for Welsh. But it was this process of evaluating something. The O stands for obvious. It's either obvious, I see it as a coach right away, I evaluate you, I see what you're doing, I might take a little bit of video. You're just doing this. The ball's too far forward, it's too back, you're too far away, you've been playing in the wind, whatever, it's obvious. Or it's complex. Now, complex means I need more information. I'm not quite sure, because it looks good, but something's not right. And this might be Emily, right? You're not playing at the level you should be. So I need to dive a little bit deeper. I might need to look at your biomechanics. I might need to look at your kinetics, the way you're using the ground. I might look at your equipment, your mental side, or what's going on off the golf course. Is there something I don't know about? So those are things that I'll look at. It's complex. And then it's chaotic. And that's the other C. And chaotic is, I need to take control as a coach. You're spiraling out of control because you're either thinking you've got something going on that you don't, and that's where your team is so important. And they need to step in and not be afraid to say it. And there's a lot of people that surround themselves with yes people and, hey, I'm working with a great athlete and I don't want to screw this up. I've done that. I made that mistake years ago where I didn't tell an athlete what I should have told them and they fired me. And I said, I'm never going to make that mistake again. And so if I see something with John, I'm going to call him out and go after him. And we have a relationship where he can get angry. He can come off the golf course mad. And I need to get into his face and bring it under control. And you'll see it melt away. You'll just see it gone. Because someone actually called him on it, right? Instead of let it fester. And so that's kind of my approach to coaching, and that's kind of where maybe Emily is in that world where someone needs to step in and look at it that way.
So obvious, complex, chaotic. Yes, nailed it. We should apply that to our lives, Mel.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely got the chaotic bit into my life.
I'm very complex, as we know.
Yeah, that's true. So we've already got both of them. We just need to.
We just need to work on the obvious. Dave, you can help us with the obvious.
I'll give you gummies and make you coffee.
Gummies, yes.
Have you ever tried them gummies, Kira? They're unbelievable.
Yeah,
so I really struggled to eat on the golf course, and I used your brownies and your gummies, and it was the only thing that I could get in, because I've never been able, I can't eat bananas anymore because I've just eaten so many of them. But your gummies, and I'm honestly not just saying this, and your brownies were chef's kiss. They were amazing.
Thank you.
So on that, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, because you've obviously, outside of coaching, you've created these incredible businesses. I've been to TPI in Carlsbad, the Titleist Performance Institute, and it's an amazing facility. And Dr. Greg Rose, I think, works out of the Carlsbad location.
Yeah,
right?
we both travel, but that's our home base. Yeah.
And then obviously now For Wellness. So what is the entrepreneurial side of building TPI and For Wellness looked like for you?
Yeah, so I think the key for me growing up, really, when I think back to my life growing up in Africa and all these different countries, I've lived in 27 different countries and all over Africa, the Middle East, the Far East. And that gave me a very broad perspective on the world and on people, and just gave me this outlet of nothing is so much like this. It's much broader. And that gave me the ability, the freedom to be able to do things that I think other people don't, that they're scared to. Because I see things that I see things from a 360 view, but I have a great ability then to focus down on the things that I know that I'm good at. And when I'm not good at it, I don't try and do it. I'll just go get someone else to do it that's good at that. And so and there's a lot of us that, we multitask and we try and do all these different things, but you're not good at that. And you don't like doing that. So you're not going to do it good. So I think entrepreneurial wise, when you're building a business, you have to surround yourself with talent that's not like you, that actually you butt heads with sometimes. because that's what makes you so good. And Greg and I's relationship is that way, in that he has this brilliant mind. You know, he's like a savant in biomechanics and movement and the human body and reading graphs and looking at numbers. And I'm able to understand it and then compress it into something simple that I can deliver to a student or deliver to somebody. And that is, to me, what entrepreneurship is all about, is that you can't be afraid to go and look, right? But you also have to stay focused on the task at hand of very laser focused on the things that you know to be true. And that's kind of how I built For Wellness. You know, when For Wellness started, I grew up in Kenya, and my dad used to take me into the bush. And I remember at 6 years old, he gave me my first cup of black coffee, and we bought it from a Maasai tribesman for $1. And we used to go to this watering hole, and he goes, "Don't tell your mom, but this will be the best thing you ever put in your body." And it tasted disgusting, but I drank it anyway because my dad told me it was the best thing to put in my body. And that was my first connection with coffee. Well, coffee just became a passion of mine. Don't drink a ton of it, but I have my 1 cup a certain way every day. And as I started to travel the world as a performance coach, I started to study coffee. Caffeine is a performance, and it helps you focus. There's a lot of athletes that take coffee. And 60%, 70% of the world start their day with a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. So it's a huge product, right? So as we started this, I was like, well, what if I could attach something that's good for you to a habit that you already do, which is drink your coffee in the morning? And I made this product called The Good Stuff. And that was really for Phil at the time. So Phil Mickelson at the time had psoriatic arthritis. And as his friend, I was like, well, maybe I can look within my network and try and find some stuff that you should be taking along with what the doctors have told you to do. And so I started to study inflammation, and I looked at cinnamon, and I looked at collagen, and I looked at MCT powder. And I created, like a chef in the kitchen, just this concoction, and I would put it in his coffee, and he'd be like, "This is amazing." And then within 3 or 4 months, he's like, "You know, I don't eat as much." Well, that could be the MCT powder. It's making you feel full. I feel more focused. I don't have as much joint pain, cinnamon. And whether it's true or not, for him and his body, it reacted and it had an effect. And that's what the start of this business was, is that, wow, if I can have an effect there on him, what else can I do that might help other golfers and people in general? And that's how it started.
I'll never forget that first time when I was starting to hear about For Wellness, and I was seeing Phil, walk around with his tumbler mug of coffee, and it was just the main thing that he wanted to talk about in any press conference. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's done very well, and we're continually growing. We have this line of gummies for recovery that was designed around, they have tart cherry in one of them, which they're actual real cherries. Montemarcy cherries are dried, and then we formulate them into the gummy. Same with blueberries. They're real blueberries in there. It's not an artificial flavor. And then the tangerine gummies is exciting for me because it's the first one that I've added a vitamin in that directly affects your vision and your brain. So what most people don't realize is that the tangerine gummies have something called Glutamax. There's 2 vitamins in your eyes that we don't replenish very well, and they get bombarded by blue light, which is what we're on all day long on our screens. And sunlight and blue light affects them. So this actually helps regenerate those vitamins in your eyes. And then it has something called reishi mushroom in it that crosses the blood-brain barrier and helps your focus. And so they're all formulated in a way where I'm looking at ingredients that other athletes are taking or that I'm hearing about and trying to formulate it in a product that's easy to take.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's super interesting to me. I think it's incredible what you're doing. I really do. You're definitely going into a space that not many people have gone into in the golfing industry. And yeah, it's just, I really do love your product. I think it generally is, it changed the way that I saw, or the way that I could even feel my energy levels when I was playing. And I've tried everything under the sun, and that was definitely the best one
That's great.
I worked with. So it's really fascinating how you developed that. It's really cool.
Yeah. So Dave, I feel like we could pick your brain forever. This was so fascinating. Mel is nerding out.
I'm
there. Mel,
nerding out big time.
Do you have anything else you want to be a nerd about?
Not really. I mean, we kind of touched on this before, but I'm a new mother now, and he's only 19 months, but he's showing interest in golf, which will be a whole life of heartbreak for him, bless him. But how do I would you tell me to encourage speed with him? When you're trying to get kids in, we just go just get speed as much as possible, and then we'll figure out the direction which you said earlier. Like,
Yeah,
so I'm sure there's a lot
I
of
mean,
parents listening to this, like, how do I get my kid, like, to enjoy it, but then also, you know,
Crush everyone.
crush everyone, basically. Yeah,
You
exactly.
make them an athlete first. Let them play everything, right? And eye-hand coordination, when I've tested athletes like yourself, it's incredible. And most people don't think of eye-hand coordination in golf. They think, oh, to be a soccer player or a goalkeeper or a football player or a baseball player, I need to watch the ball. Well, it turns out the vision in golf is huge. And the more we study it, your ability, your reaction time, the ability to take in so many decisions so quick. I mean, you stand on a tee box, you got to decide the club, the distance, the yardage, the temperature, how far the ball's going to go. Do you want to hit it left to right to left? Should you go low, high? Is there a gust coming up? What's that noise behind me? How do you get in that state? And you've been there, so you've done that. And so coordination, I think things like table tennis, hitting a ball, like for babies, I love like throwing balls to them, balloons. Anything that their eyes are moving with their hands is a great thing for golf, right? And you look at, any sport, and then leg strength to me, as I said, I think is primary. So any of the running, jumping, skipping, it's amazing how many young kids today can't skip.
Oh, it fascinates me. I go
really?
to the gym, honestly, mate, like a bunch of golfers literally can't skip. They can't even throw a ball.
They can't.
Like, they can't throw it to their caddy.
No.
Like,
They
it's
don't
crazy.
know. And
That's
it's because
interesting.
in schools, like in preschools and primary schools, sport is taken away, right? And like, we grew up with PE programs where you had to do hopscotch and stuff like that. And Greg and I actually created a PE program for the country of Mexico based on soccer. And they love it. And it's gone into every school. And all it requires is paint. And they don't have the money. So what we did is they have playgrounds, and a local paint provider paints this grid. And there's like games, and it's hopping, jumping, skipping, grabbing, bouncing. And it's amazing to watch. And to me, as a young child, that's what I see missing the most, is they're not getting that activity.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Like, could not agree more with you. Yeah. It's always fascinated me how these incredible athletes as golfers, but I'm like, you actually can't kick a ball. Like I said, you can't throw a ball. You can barely jump. I'm like, it's crazy to me. Honestly, mate, you'd be fascinated.
You're not an athlete.
Yeah.
Like, how are you beating me?
That's
every week?
wild. Yeah.
But no, that was honestly really cool. I really enjoyed that chat a lot. Like,
Well,
my
thanks.
nerdiness has gone full scale now.
Well, I
I'm
would love
gonna-
to have you guys out. So you let me know.
We will.
we're
Don't
doing
you worry,
it.
Dave. I'm sure there's
I would
already
love to.
an email in your inbox from the powers that be.
Let's figure
So
out
for
a time.
for those listening, even if you are just starting out as an amateur golfer, look up the TPI website, find a TPI certified instructor professional near you, because that's a great way for you to probably cut out a lot of the frustrating things you don't understand about the golf swing and your body, and can help you get there faster, and so that you feel good on the golf course. Also look into for wellness. Dave, thank you so much. This was awesome, and I'm sure we'll see you very soon.
Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day, guys. See you.
Bye, Dave.
You too. Bye.